Lesson 3.1. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be solving equations, okay, and we're going to find out what the variable equals, x or y, or whatever your letter is, we're going to find out how it, or what it is equal to. Now, the types of problems that I've given you today are very simple problems, something like x plus 7 equals 10. Well, obviously, I could use mental math to find out that x is equal to 3, okay, and so but what I'm going to tell you or teach you how to do is use inverse operations so that later on in this chapter and later on in the year, as our problems get more difficult, we know exactly how to solve for x using different steps. First thing you need to know about solving equations are inverse operations. What inverse operations are the opposite. So if I see addition, I want to use subtraction. If I see subtraction, I want to use addition, okay? Those are the only two operations we're going to be dealing with today. Tomorrow we'll move into multiplication and division, and then after that we'll combine them together. So first off, we're going to look at addition and subtraction. So in our first example here, I have x minus 9 is equal to negative 17. Well, I want to find out what x is equal to. And the way that I do that is I use inverse operation or opposite. Before I get into that, though, I want to explain to you about this equation, what it is, what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for, okay? First of all, what I'm looking at is this problem, and I see the equal sign. The equal sign is kind of like my middle ground or my barrier for the equation. Everything to the left is considered one side of the equation, and everything to the right is considered the other side of the equation. So x minus 9 would be on one side, and negative 17 is on one side. The whole point of solving equations is to get it so that the variable is all by itself on one side. So, for instance, it would say x equals whatever. That x is all alone. There's nothing over there with it. And I look at my problem here, and what is over on this same side as the x? So the negative 9 is on the one side with the x. So in order to solve for x, I've got to do inverse operation. And what is inverse of minus 9 or negative 9? Addition. So I add 9. Now look what happens here. What's negative 9 plus 9? 0. So that cancels out. That's the whole point. Now, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So I add 9 to the other side. Now, look what that does. Picture our equation as a scale. If I have negative 9 on one side, so I add it to move to the other, okay? I've got to take it away from this side, and it moves over here. Does that make sense? Okay? Now, the x is by itself. I have x equals, and what is negative 17 plus 9? Bailey? Negative 8 is correct. And the whole point is I've got different signs, so I subtract and take. Remember that what we learned last chapter? Different signs, subtract and take. So let's look at the next problem here. Tanae, I have 10 plus a equals 25. What am I going to do?
You're going to subtract 10 both sides, and then you're going to do 15.
Perfect. A equals 15. The reason why I had to subtract 10 is I needed it to say A equals, so I had to move the 10 from one side over to the other. I do that by inverse, and I solve. Now, let me put this one up here, and I want you guys to do this one on your own. If I gave you this problem right here, take a look at it. Negative 6 plus a equals negative 10. What would I do here? Isabel?
You would add 6 on both sides.
Perfect. You add 6. You say, wait a second. I thought that was addition, so shouldn't I subtract 6? No, because the 6 is negative. It has nothing to do with the sign in between the 6 and the a. Everything to do with the sign before the 6. So I add 6 over here, and a is equal to negative 4. Okay? So let's look at example 2 now. Let's look at example 2. Everybody write these examples down.
All of them or just one?
All of them. Negative 11 equals n minus negative 2. First of all, something should be going off in your head saying, what do I need to take care of, Christian? The double negative needs to become a positive. That is going to change my inverse operation because I went from having minus sign, so I would think, oh, you add 2 to both sides, to now I have a plus sign. So how would I solve for n?
Miss, when you do that, is that 2 still negative?
No, the 2 is positive. Everything, the double negatives, because there's 2 of them, the whole thing changes to a positive, even the number.
Oh,
Okay?
you're going to subtract.
So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. So this cancels out. What's negative 11 minus 2? Do I have same signs or different signs? Same. So I add and keep. Can I write my answer like this? Is this appropriate? No, we write n equals negative 13. Now, in some of my other classes, okay, I've had people who, when they get past this step right here, they say, oh, all I need to do is add 11 to both sides. Is that possible? No. Because what did I leave on that left side of my equation? Nothing. There's nothing there, okay? So I cannot do that. So that's why you cannot add 11. Okay? So let's look at the next problem here. Okay? R plus 3 equals 2. What am I going to do here to solve? Tanae? Very good. R equals negative 1. Okay? Let's look at the next one. Carissa, what am I going to do here? Perfect. Add 4 to both sides. All I'm doing is the inverse operation. And what does x equal? 13. Okay? All right. Here's a few problems that I want you to do on your own. Write these down and do them on your own. Okay. I'm going to ask one of you to do this problem, all right? And I want you to walk us through and I want you to explain it to us as a class as if you were the teacher and you're teaching us the lesson for the first time. So Tanae, go ahead and do the first problem for us. Right on the iPad.
First, you're going to subtract 7 from both sides because negative 7 is the opposite of positive 7, and then that'll give you 17, negative 17 equals C.
Perfect. Very good. All right, Josh, why don't you do number 2 for us?
All right, so you're gonna add 6, and then to both sides, and then so that gives you 3 equals B.
Perfect. Now, would you leave your answer like that?
Nope, you would put B equals 3.
Perfect. B equals 3. Okay. And the last one, Lily. Tell us what you would do on this problem.
Okay, so you have a double negative, so you have to make it a positive, and then you subtract 2 on both sides, and then you get R equals 3.
Perfect. Very good. Okay. That concludes how we would solve equations.